What is your favorite paradox?
The more you learn, the more you realize how little you know. Every time you gain a greater understanding about something, it creates even more questions than it answers.
When I was in art class, we had an assignment to paint a paradox or oxymoron. I didn't paint anything, handed in a blank canvas titled Completed Assignment, and got an A.
Pilots can get out of combat duty if they are psychologically unfit, but anyone who tries to get out of combat duty proves he is sane.
The Pogo Paradox, where an event is caused by the very attempts to prevent it. Edit. I'm not sure if this is an official name. I heard it on Star Trek Voyager. Edit 2. No, this is not the Streisand effect. That defines a situation where people want to suppress knowledge about some information, but that effort causes the information to become more widespread. This is not a paradox. Edit 3. Yes, just like that, so Raven. As 300 replies have already pointed out. Edit 4. And Harry Potter. And Star Wars. Etc. Sorites paradox. When exactly does heap of a million grains of sand turn into a non-heap when you take away grains of sand one at a time? If you make a New Year's resolution not to keep any New Year's resolutions, would you keep it? I've heard of one where some idiot went back in the past and accidentally got his grandpa killed. He eventually had to do the nasty in the past with his grandma to save his own life. I don't like that place. No one goes there anymore because it's always too crowded. Pinocchio's nose paradox. If Pinocchio says the phrase, "My nose will grow up," it creates a paradox. This is because if it grows, then he's telling the truth. But since it only grows when he's lying, it shouldn't grow. But if it doesn't grow, then he lied, so it should grow, which means he's telling the truth. But if edit. Lots of people have pointed out that this may not be paradox. I should say I made a slight mistake, and it works better when he says, "My nose will grow now." So he's talking about the immediate present and not a future time, which breaks the paradox. I had to Google that and I found it's representative of the liar paradox. Like if you were to say, "I am lying." If you're lying, then you told the truth, which means you just lied. That being said, I'm sure there's still arguments against this, but it's still fun to try and wrap your head around, if you're not getting too technical. The paradox of being a parent. The days and nights are long and hard, yet the years fly by. Buridan's bridge. Due to the fact there is an obvious answer. For those unfamiliar, it goes as such. Socrates wants to cross a river and comes to a bridge guarded by Plato. The two speak as follows. Plato. Socrates. If in the first proposition which you utter, you speak the truth, I will permit you to cross. But surely, if you speak falsely, I shall throw you into the water. Socrates. You will throw me into the water. Assuming it's a bridge near water and not that high, I would throw him into the water, fish him out, then let him pass. He'd be shivering on the way and I would say as he passes, "That's what you get for being a smart ass." Edit. My first silver bear hugs and rocket like. Thank you, kind strangers. Edit 2. As pointed out by many people, this is like the Pinocchio paradox of Pinocchio saying, "My nose will grow." I also have an answer to that one to avoid the universe from ending from a paradoxical explosion. The nose grows then shrinks. Even his body wants to spite smart asses. My favorite is this. If you randomly guess at this multiple choice question, what are the odds you get it right? A. 25%. B. 50%. C. 25%. D. 0%. The solution is there is no right answer. We can prove this by condition less than. Case 1. The right answer is 25%. Well, then you have a 50% chance of choosing 25, so then the right answer is not 25. less than. Case 2, the right answer is 50%. Well, then you have a 25% chance of choosing 50, so that can't be right. Less than. Case 3, the right answer is 0%. Well, then you have a 25% chance of choosing that, so that's not right. Less than. So there is no right answer, even though it feels like there should be. Less than. Ocarina of Time bootstrap paradox. As a child you meet a happy man in a windmill. Time travels, so you are an adult. You meet the same man who is angered by a child who played a song that summoned a storm that caused the windmill to drain a nearby well. He teaches you the song. Travel back in time and you play the song at the windmill, causing the above events. Where did the song come from? Where did the cycle begin? Statistical paradoxes are cool. For example, Simpson's paradox, where a statistical trend is reversed when the population is partitioned into groups. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 was supported by 61% of Democrats and 80% of Republicans. However, both Southern and Northern Democrats were more likely to support the act than their Republican colleagues. White murderers in Florida are more likely to receive the death penalty than African Americans. However, African Americans whose victims were white are more likely to be executed than whites, as are African Americans whose victims were black. Median wages in the U.S. rose by 1% between 2000 and 2013. Yet wages of every educational subgroup, school dropouts, school graduates, college graduates and higher degrees, fell during the same period. The overall survival rates for third-class passengers on the Titanic were higher than those for the crew, yet those for both men and women were lower. The batting averages of baseball player David Justice were higher than those of Derek Jeter in both 1995 and 1996, but not in the 2 years combined. You need job experience to get a job, but to have the experience you must get a job. If time travel was invented in the future, we would have it now. When Marty goes back and meets his mom in Back to the Future, she gets to know him as Calvin Marty Klein. If we assume she named her son Marty because of this interaction, how could he have originally been named Marty? The Maya paradox. Our illusions are not real, yet it's real that illusion itself exists. If you have your grandfather's axe, replace the handle a year later, then replace the blade. Is it still your grandfather's axe? No one votes third party because no one votes third party.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.